Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. A while back I bought this Porter cable router at the Restore. And one of the things that I noticed was this was held in there with a bolt, just a regular old hex head bolt. And I decided, okay, when I get a chance, I'm going to fix that. The other thing I found was the inside of this is stripped out. I said, okay, I'll fix that at the same time. Now the way this thing needs to be configured, it needs to have a square head on the bolt. But unfortunately, I cannot buy that square head from Porter Cable anymore because it's not being made. But it just happens that it's a 1/4 bolt. That's the original thread inside this. And a 1/4 square head nut fits right in there. There, that's going to work. That's going to hold it. But I need to fasten this nut on that bolt so that it doesn't come loose. Now I could use thread lock, but I'm going to peen it because I think peening is much more permanent, and it's also a heck of a lot easier. All I need to do is put it in the vise using the soft jaws because the soft jaws won't damage the threads. Run it down just a little bit. Then simply take a ball peen hammer and by going around the bolt in a circular pattern, just like I'm making a rivet, I peen that nut right on the end of that thread. And it won't move. It's fixed. Now, I can't peen new threads into this. I'd love to. It'd be cool to be able to go in there and just peen new threads in it, but I can't think of a way to make it work. But I can use a thing called a Heli-coil or a Heli-coil. Helix is a screw, so I imagine it's really helix. We always called it Heli-coils just because that's what Dad called it. But it doesn't really matter what you call it. What it is a thread repair. The package, which is, this one is made by Stanley. I don't know if anybody else makes these, but this one is made by Stanley. The package comes with a tap, a driver, and these little wound springs. The inside of the coil spring is a 20 thread per inch pitch. By inserting the coiled spring into that aluminum, I can install a set of new threads. So how do I do that? I take this tap, using a tap handle, I start the threads into the aluminum. I need to raise this up just a bit. There. I add a little bit of aluminum. Normally, at this point, I would take a drill bit, which is specified in the Heli-coil kit, and drill the hole out to allow for the tap to go through. But because this piece of aluminum has been stripped out completely, there's no threads left in it, I'm able to just start the tap right in and cut out the old threads. This isn't a normal thing, this is a special case. Now that I've got that started, I'm going to take it out. Remove the chips. Put a little tapping oil in there, a little thread cutting oil. Then I'm going to start the threading tap in there. Keep wanting to call it a threading die. It's not a die, it's a tap. The die is the external, the tap is the internal. And I know that, but I'm thinking too many things at once. Now, this is a blind hole, and the flutes on this tap get plugged up pretty quickly with this aluminum. You can see that the aluminum is actually packed into the flutes. I think I can go a little bit deeper. The oil in that spray can works really good, but I don't like spray cans. I'd rather have a drip oiler. Spray cans are wasteful. A little clicker can or a pump can, you can put just a drop where you need it, and really all you got to have is enough to lubricate the threads on the tap. Okay, that's far enough. Now to get another tap, the only way I found to do it, with a reasonable hope of success, is to buy a kit. So I try really hard not to damage this tap, because the kits aren't cheap. It's only just that long, which is actually about twice the equivalent length of that nut. So it really is quite long enough. Tighten that up. And with a smaller tap handle, start this down in there and run it all the way down. There's a little tang that actually drives the heli-coil into the threaded hole, and there's a step that the camera battery died and the cameraman wasn't paying any attention. So to do the tang removal, you use a punch or rod. The diameter should fit snugly into the insert. To break the tang, notch on the bottom of coil. Punch or rod must have square end, no chamfer. Place rod or punch into the insert until it rests on the tang. Hold tool squarely and strike with hammer. It's pretty simple, but like I said, battery died. Now I have a Porter cable router that'll clamp up tightly and work quite well. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.